All right, so at this point, you should have a technique to record videos, whether it be screen capture or using some type of recording device to record a piece of paper or a smartboard, or to just show yourself at the board. You should have some way of recording videos and getting those onto YouTube. You should have some kind of hosting site, whether it's Google Sites or Google Classroom or some other way that you particularly like. Okay, so now we want to move on and say, now that your students have the ability to find the videos online, access them, and watch them, how can you evaluate what it is that they know and what you'd like them to know, or even just get some feedback and say, what questions do you have? How well do you think you understood what you saw? So that when you go into class the following day, before you even walk into the room, you can take a look at the information that the students provided the night before, see where they're at, see whether they get it or whether they don't, and then use that to inform what it is that you're going to do that day in class. Okay? So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use Google Forms. Okay. So this is, if you type forms.google.com, it will bring you to this screen. This is a part of the Google Docs, Google Drive suite. Okay, so from this screen, you probably have nothing on here. I do have a form that I was using to test this, but if you go down again to this bottom right corner, it says create a new form. Okay, we're going to go in and we are going to create a survey or a scale or something like that. So in this, you have several things. The first thing is we have the title of the form. So I could call this, video evaluation questions. Okay, if I want to add a description and say, this is to see how much you know about the video you just watched. Okay, I can add that, but that's an optional thing. You don't have to include the description if it's something to help your students and to help you. Okay. Then once we get down to this, you can see again, if you take a look closely, there's these triple dots. This represents one question. I have the ability on the right hand side here to add as many questions if I'd like. So if I hit this again, you'll see that it adds a second question, and I can continue to do this for as many as I'd like. I also have the option to add text if I want to, for example, just add a text box in here that is not, a different title screen, like if I want to go from one to the other. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that one. I can add photos, and I can add videos and other things into into the form itself. But we're going to stick with a simple evaluation technique, and I'll let you mess around with some of the other stuff. So I have two questions here. So the one thing I'm going to ask my students is, I'm going to say, summarize in a short paragraph, okay, okay, what you learned from the video you just watched. Okay, and again, if I want to expand upon this, we can add some more information. I don't think there's any restriction on this here. You can also, again, right here, that gives you an option to add a picture to your question itself. So if you want to include a diagram or something like that, you can do that. Okay. If you notice what happened as I was typing, Google actually looked at the words that I was writing for my question. Okay, I'm going to take that out, make that a period. Okay, looked at the answers I was questioning, and it decided what type of question I was asking already. It decided that I was going to write a paragraph, because right here I use the word paragraph and I use the word summarize. Okay, so it's going to try to make a guess about what you want, what type of response you're looking for. Okay, so you can see if you click on this, we have the option for short answer, which is maybe just a word or a sentence. A paragraph will give them a larger box that they can write more stuff in. And then we have all of the other options like multiple choice, check boxes for multiple answer, a drop down if you want to restrict them to different things, right? So lots of different ways that you can gather feedback. I'm going to leave this as paragraph. This will give students the ability to answer questions, okay? Excuse me. So you have down here a couple of options. You have the copy feature. So if I want to just take this and I want to just change, I want to leave this as a paragraph with the same settings, but I want to just change what the question is, I can hit duplicate, and it will just give me another exact copy of this that I can maybe change some words and go with that. You have the ability to delete questions. So there we go. I'm going to delete that copy. Okay, and then you have the ability to require a question. So you're basically saying, if you fill out this form, you must answer this question or it won't allow you to submit it. So I'm going to click that so that each of my students comes on here, they know that they can't skip this question, and it won't allow them to accidentally skip over a question if you have several. Okay, so that I'm going to check that. If you click on the ... it also gives you a couple more choices, but I'm going to leave those blank. Okay. I'm going to move on to my second question, and in this one I'm going to use a different thing. I'm going to say, let's create a scale. I'm going to say, on a scale of 1 to 4, okay, how well did you understand the lesson. So again, this will give you a quick snapshot of what how well your students are doing. If you get lots of 1s, you might say, oh, okay, something's going on. If you get lots of 4s, you didn't. And again, you can see off to the right, Google looked at it, and when I said on a scale of 1 to 4, it kind of understood that I was going for a linear scale. I have the ability to change that, and you can do grids and checkbox grids and all that kind of stuff. But this is what we want. Okay, you can see that it knew that I was going from 1 to 4. If I wanted to change it for something else, I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I have the ability to label. So obviously, students might ask, well, is 1 the best or is 4 the best? Okay, and this one is, I'm going to specify I didn't understand at all. Okay, and then my other option is going to be I fully understand. Okay. So this gives me now a short summary so that they're going to have to make sure they watch the video, stop and think about what they learned, and give you a short summary of what it is that they learned. And then also just get a quick snapshot of, okay, I'm a 1, I'm a 2, I'm a 3, and give that as a kind of option as well. So I'm going to also mark this one as required. Okay, so this is my form. This is what I'm going to embed into my my hosting source, either Google Sites or Google Classroom, okay, along with the video. Okay, so there's one more thing I'm going to change. I'm going to go up to the top here, and you can see that I can click on the untitled form, and when I click on it, it's going to automatically fill it in with whatever title you chose, okay, and you can keep that, or if you wanted to change itself to something else and say, call it like Video 1 feedback form, right? So you can give it a more formal name if you don't want it to match the title of your document itself. Okay, so there you go. You can see I have this document. It was auto-saving as I went along, so I have nothing else left to do. Okay, and when I go back to my list of forms, okay, you're going to see that it's going to show up here. Here is my video feedback form 1, right? So I can make a list if I want a bunch of them, okay, and now it's available. Okay, so I want to show you what it looks like, okay, when your students will work with it. So you can see this is what it looks like, and I'm going to do a test question. I'm going to say, summarize in a short paragraph what you learned. I'm just going to write test, test, test. Okay, and I'm going to say that I fully understood the material, and I'm going to click submit. And it says your response has been recorded. You're done with this. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Okay, and if you see what happens on your end, on the teacher end, there is now a response here. So I can click on this, and it's going to show me that on the first question, this was the response, test, test, test. Okay, and that I have a graph here showing me that the one response was a 4. Okay, so I can use that information, at a glance to see what they did. I can also click individual and see what each person's individual form looks like. Okay, so something that, like, now that we looked at this, we might want to add to this is, well, we don't know where it came from. What student just did that, right? So I might want to go here and say, let's add a question right at the top and say, what is your name? Okay, so that we make sure that everybody is taken care of. It guessed that it was a short answer, which is good for me. Okay, and I'm going to require this one as well. Okay, so I'm going to enhance it a little bit by having that extra option. Okay, so now we have a piece of feedback here. Okay, which obviously they don't have their name because that wasn't there before. Okay, we have the option to see it in this. Okay, and we also have the option to create a spreadsheet. So I can create a new spreadsheet that's called Video 1 Feedback Form Response, or if I want to change it, I can do that. Okay, and when I create this, it's going to show me the information in a summarized form. So I get a timestamp about when the document was submitted, and I get the person's name, what they decided to summarize, and a scale. So again, you can use this as a sortable thing. You can check on individual students in the list and kind of get a nice summary, which is also saved to your Google Drive, so you can pull it up later on to use as data on your day-to-day instruction. Okay, so you get a little bit of data from this. You get a nice snapshot of what happened in the video, right? That's everything that we're looking for from a piece of feedback. Okay, so now let's talk about how to get this into your hosting situation. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Google Classroom. Okay, so you can see this is a Google Classroom that we created in one of the previous videos. If I wanted to include this in this form into my post here, maybe I'm looking at this first post here that already has a video. Okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, let's edit this particular post. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this website because I really just want there to be a video and a feedback form. Okay, what I can do now is go to Google Drive, okay, which is this second button in, and you can see right at the top, this is stuff that happened today. Okay, so I can say I'd like to use the form. Remember, this is the spreadsheet that we created, so that's different. Okay, and I can click on this, and you can see it adds it to the bottom. Okay, so I could add instructions here and say, okay, watch this video, okay, and then click on the link, and fill out the form that is attached. Okay, so this gives my students now a video to watch, and this will just auto launch on YouTube, or I'm sorry, it'll auto launch right in the page, and we can watch it. Okay, and then they can come back, click on the evaluation. It just opens that up in a new tab. They can fill out their response, and then they're done for the day. Okay, so you can see this kind of keeps everything really close together. It keeps everything compact. This particular post is all about a specific chapter, a specific unit within, and we can kind of group everything like that, so all of the information is together in one post. Okay, so that's one of your options if you chose to use Google Classroom. Right, this is something you can use. Okay, when we look at the website, remember I had created in a previous video this website. Right, I have all my title at the top, and a bunch of information that's linked, some photos, all this different sections, and I created this video number 1 where I embedded the document that I want them to look at. I embedded the video that I wanted them to look at. Now I'm going to add to that the form that I want them to fill out. And so I can look on the right hand side, and I can see that it gives me the ability right here to include a form. So when I click on forms, it's going to go to my drive and look at all the forms that are available, and you can see that video 1 feedback is right here. I can click on it, say add it to my video. Okay, I'm sorry, add it to my website, and again we have the ability to move it around. So I can take this and I can move it up, and I'd like it to be in the same section as the video and the homework. Okay, maybe I want to resize this a little bit and make this a little longer so the entire thing shows up. Okay, so I'm going to move this down a little. Okay, if it wants to let me. Okay, and I can kind of push all this information into the same box. Okay, and then since I got a little bit more space, maybe I'll add a little bit more space here too. Okay, so I can show a couple pages. Okay, so now I have a whole section on a website that has everything, and everything that's done is done right here. You're not going to launch a new page or anything. You can see I can click play when I save it. Okay, when I go back to the top and say let's look at a preview, this is what our students would see. Okay, I can click on this, hit play. It's embedded right here. You can see the video. Okay, I can come down here and I can type all the information I want and submit it right here without going to a new page. I can look at the assignment. Okay, I can launch this out into a new window if I'd like, and print it. Okay, zoom in, do any of the things that I want to do. Okay, so this gives you a lot of different possibilities for what you're going to do once your students know or have watched the video. You can ask them specific questions about the video. You can just ask for a summary. You can get a scale. So lots of different things you can do, and depending on your hosting option, you can embed it right into a website, or you can include it into your classroom like we did here in Google Classroom. Okay, so one of the tasks that you're going to do at the end of this week's module is to do this, to create a question, to include it with the video that you already have on your hosting so that you have a good example of pretty much what we just did here. I now have a post that has a video that I created, okay, on my Google Classroom with an evaluation technique, and this is everything we want to do. Same thing here. I can go here and say, here is a section of my website that has a video, it has a feedback option, and it's all on the Google site for them to see. Okay, so if you want to give that a shot, you can see if you take a look at assignment number 3 all the way at the end, after you have a chance to look at some other options for evaluating students, you can use this to very easily gather information about what your students know based on the video that they watched.